Hi guys, last few mornings when I've looked at my solar clock flower, it hasn't been moving. So I was just going to sit down now and do some work on it, check why it isn't working. But as you can see, it's moving. But I think, well, I think that's fairly obvious. That's the wind blowing through the window making it move. The way it should work is I've got a nickel metal hydride battery in the clock. I'll put a solar panel on top of it that keeps the battery topped up. And originally I had these two wires hanging out the front that I could connect a meter to and just check the power in the battery. But then sometime in the recent past, I decided to connect up this solar rocker with the solar panel removed to those two wires, so it was running off the power going into the battery. And the last few mornings, it hasn't been moving. So I was going to take it apart and have a look. I suspect that the soldering that I've done has failed. I expect these wires are just disconnected from the back of the circuit board. But when I came out here just now, it was actually rocking. But I think that was the wind blowing it and nothing to do with power. So we will have a look, see what we can do. Because it's actually running off the battery, even though it's connected through the solar panel, it keeps running straight through the night as well. And the fact it's not running and the clock is still working makes me think it's one of the soldering connections in there that's come loose. This bit just fell off as I picked it up, which is why it's facing the wrong way round. Yeah, don't get confused by that working. That's just, they do rock very well just when you knock them. So we'll take it apart. I'll say the fact the clock's still working tells us that the battery's absolutely fine. I have done previous videos on this, so if I can find them, I'll link to them. Well, that looks absolutely fine. Oh, or does it? Or doesn't? How's my wires? Are they all right? That's the original solar panel, which I've got covered over and I've got desoldered so we don't get confused. And these wires look okay. Yep, they haven't come loose. So what is the problem? I'm not seeing a problem. No, there's no problem there. Well, that's working absolutely fine now. Am I looking at the wrong end? Is it a problem with a solder joint here, or here perhaps, or actually on the bottom of there. That doesn't look very good just there. What I could do is just disconnect these bits of wire and solder directly onto the pads. And that is working fine. And it doesn't look like it's the soldering in here. I reckon it's one of these wires is playing up. So if I take those off, because we don't need them anyway, and solder directly on with these green wires directly onto those tags, we may be okay. Well, I've done that. I've resoldered it. As you can see, it is working fine, but that's misleading. I checked the battery, the nickel metal hydride battery that was in the clock, and it didn't even register on my battery tester, which is just a simple one that says good or bad. So I think the problem might have been that the nickel metal hydride battery had dropped down to such a level that it couldn't support both the clock and the solar rocker. So we've got a freshly charged nickel metal hydride battery in there now. So it's running anyway. The question will be, will that solar panel keep the fresh nickel metal hydride battery recharged? That is interesting, because I thought we'd got a problem at this end, but I think the problem was at that end, and it could quite simply have been the clock had been positioned so the solar panel wasn't collecting full sunlight, because it was under the edge of the windowsill, so it wasn't getting good sunshine. And at the moment, misleading, because that is a freshly charged nickel metal hydride battery I'll put in there. We will leave it and see if it survives. You'll have to check my daily good morning videos that I do every day, see if it's still running. Well, I thought I'd finished, but when I put it back in the window, it stopped working again. So I had another look at it. These orange wires, when I put this together, I'd just wrap them around the battery contacts and pulled them tight and hope for the best. I hadn't soldered them, and moving it around actually meant that they came loose. They weren't making a good contact. So I remembered then, last year or maybe the year before, BigClive.com reviewed this solder from AliExpress with Colonel Sanders on the front of it. It isn't Colonel Sanders, but that's how you can recognize it. And the flux in this solder actually allows you to solder to stainless steel, or certainly that springy stuff that those battery contacts are made of. So I've just resoldered them, or just soldered them rather than just wrapping them tight. And as you can see, we are now working again. So although the previous battery was pretty well flat, it was keeping the clock running, and it may just have simply been that the contacts there weren't making good contact. Moving it around got it working again, but when I actually put it in place, it lost contact again and stopped working. Whereas now, we are working with our freshly soldered contacts with that solder. if I remember, I'll put a link in the video description to Big Clive's review of that solder, because he said it was pretty rubbish stuff, but the fact that you could solder onto stainless steel might have been a bonus, so I bought some, and it works. I say stainless steel, it's that springy steel that they use for battery contacts that you normally can't solder onto. Well, that has been a really frustrating afternoon working on this. Got it all back together, and it stopped working again. And it looks like it's actually the solar flower that's playing up now. Maybe we've put too much power into it from that solar panel. May have cooked it, but I've converted it back to its original solar panel, and it's not working. Well, the sun's gone in now anyway, but yeah, it's not working at all. So I can only guess that we may have cooked it. We've had some really strong sunshine this week, so we may have had too much power coming from that solar panel going into it and cook the electronics, because now it doesn't want to work at all. Whereas I've got one of my backups there, no solar panel in there, crocodile clips onto the back of that solar panel, although that's in the shade now, so it's running off the nickel metal hydride battery that's in the clock. So yeah, we've gone round in a big circle there. It looks like this one is now dead. I've tried it with a battery straight across it, and it's not running off the battery either. And yet at times, this afternoon while we've been working on it, it has worked. So a bit of a loss there as to what the problem is. So my only guess is that we've actually cooked that little circuit board in there. So we will put that one back on the shelf. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment so I know how I'm doing. And somewhere up here there'll be some links to related playlists. Thanks again.